友们，大家好，欢迎收看本周的对话好莱坞，我是主持人蓝天。那今天呢，我们来到了 LA Film School， 也就是大名鼎鼎的洛杉矶电影学院哈。成千上万的怀着电影梦的学生们呢，都想涌进这所大学。那么今天呢，我们邀请到了 LA Film School 的 President CEO Diana Kessler， 她会跟我们分享一下她管理这所大学的一些理念和经历了。So Diana, thank you so much for taking the time out and be on our interview.
You're welcome.
So everyone knows that you had a lawyer background, right? So how and why did you get into a completely different industry?
Well, super crazy, obviously. But I have to say that when I graduated as a lawyer, even though I enjoyed my studies as a lawyer and I wanted to be a lawyer, there was part of me that said, a lawyer can be a little bit boring. So what I thought I would do after lawyering for more than 10 years is I said, you know, I've always enjoyed the film industry, and I started taking classes in the film area and learning more about film area and learning about producing and editing. And I just really enjoyed it, and eventually started getting more and more into that area of the industry. And then with my husband, we said, why don't we go ahead and formally launch the LA Film School?
Wow.
And that's how it all started.
In the beginning, you were kind of an investor, right? More of a CEO or president. So LA Film School was actually founded in 1999.
Correct.
So when did you get involved with it completely?
So I was an investor early on. And then in the year 2001, I jumped in as full CEO. And it was because we were investors and continue to be investors in a lot of businesses. But this is one that I felt passionate about. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And because I had the background and I wanted to be more involved in the film industry, I thought this is the right thing for me. So I was able to jump in. And in any school or business, there's the subject matter. So in this case, it was film, and then we've expanded that to other areas. But there's also everything that goes on around that, which is the administration, which is the hiring, which is the making sure you have the right people in place, doing the financial side. So there's a lot more than just the film education. And I was able to lend my expertise as a lawyer on top of some background that I had in the filmmaking industry to the organization.
So was it completely different from what you imagined at first?
It was, yes, yes. because I had managed people before,
right,
but I had not managed educators before in a school.
Right.
So it was different. It was exciting. Sometimes when you are in a school, an artistic school setting, you have a lot more personalities that are artistic, which is fabulous. I think in a legal setting, people tend to conduct meetings a little bit more structured. And then in an artistic setting, sometimes those meetings are about what's top of mind at the moment. So
ideas are just popping
ideas,
up.
lots of ideas, yeah.
Right. So what did you change in the business to make it grow to the size that it is now today? I'm pretty sure it was hard in the beginning, but what did you do different from the previous president or CEOs or managers?
I think taking what was there already and making it more. So taking the hands-on approach and making more of it. So getting more equipment, expanding the facilities. Another important thing that we did was accreditation.
Right.
The school was a certificate program before, and we thought, well, let's make it more prestigious. Let's start going into accreditation. So we applied and received accreditation. Which was a really big step. And then we also went from certificate programs to associate's programs, and then we went to bachelor's programs. So I think it was every step of the way and every year notching up the prestige level on what we did.
So it was different from before. Before it was just a pretty standard film school.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
It was, yes, and it was a shorter program, and it was a certificate program. Yes.
So what is the size of the school now today?
Wow, well, it's grown from those old days of 100 students back then. Now we have about 3,000 students.
Wow.
And we've launched online programs. So part of that student body is actually in our online area. And that means that if you're a student and can't get to Los Angeles because you are working or you're in a different part of the country and you have obligations there, if you want to learn through us or with us, you can also do it online now through our online programs.
So what is the percentage of international students compared to regular, ordinary students?
It's still small, but growing. In fact, we just saw a presentation on that today. We have about 200 international students here, and every year we're bringing on at least 130 to 140. So we are growing in a big way, and it's all been, a lot of it's been word of mouth. But we have finally, in the last couple of years, said, okay, we're going to put a few more resources into this. And so we have been sending people out to China.
To different parts of the world.
And to India and to other parts of the world. But as you can imagine, there's a real interest in other parts of the world in filmmaking. And Hollywood, even though there's filmmaking all around the world now, and there are schools all around the world, but Hollywood continues to be the epicenter of deal making for movies. So there's a lot of filmmaking here, but a lot of the people, the producers, the editors, the directors are all here. Even if they're shooting in Bulgaria or shooting in Latin America or even in Louisiana, a lot of the deals are still made in Hollywood.
Exactly. I mean, you're in one of the most competitive industries of the world, especially at the heart of the capital, entertainment capital, right? So how do you stay competitive and unique and different amongst all the schools?
Not always easy, but I sometimes feel like we are an ostrich with our head in the ground. And what I mean by that is that we're always looking at our inside the walls and saying, how can we improve ourselves? And I also go back to our mission, and our mission is to educate students with technology and with teachers that have been in the industry. So those two things are a great recipe for success, because then the student graduates and they can immediately jump into a project, versus sometimes in the past, and I know a lot of schools are changing now, but in the past, a lot of times schools would teach a lot of the theory behind filmmaking and not put these students on the cameras or on the sets or have them do an animation that had a green screen in the back. So I think those are the types of things that we like to continue to bolster in our school, make them better. And I have to admit that also what makes us better is when our graduates graduate and they go on and do crazy cool things, then it's like, yay, it's working. This is great. So.
Yeah, they came out of our school.
Yes.
So what are some of the household names that graduated from LA Film School?
Well, we have some really amazing people. In fact, we have so many. You'll have to go onto the website to see all the great folks. But from memory, people that are top of mind for me are Ari Levine, who was one of the producers behind Bruno Mars.
Wow.
And we know who Bruno Mars is, so that was a fantastic graduate of ours. And then we have Brandon Trost. Brandon Trost is one of my favorite stories because he was one of our first students way back 15 years ago.
1999.
Yes.
2000.
Yes. He just showed himself to be an amazing student and then transitioned into being an amazing cinematographer. And coming out of film school, and especially back then a film school that was not very well known, he parlayed his training into getting jobs. And then eventually those jobs became bigger and bigger jobs. And now he's the main cinematographer on amazing movies that we know of. So movies such as Neighbors, and other incredible movies, yes. So that's been a really great success story. And then we have other folks like Kyle Novacek. Kyle is somebody who decided he wanted to get into television, and he didn't know exactly how, but him and his friends said, we're going to create some series and some pilots on some funny stories surrounding us living together. And he parlayed that into Workaholics, which is one of the very large TV shows here in the United States.
He was a part of that.
Not only a part of it, but he was a director on it, a producer on it, and also he was an actor. And he continues to act as well. And he's now doing other series for TV. So he's just been amazing.
That's insane.
Yes.
He wrote it as well.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And then we had a woman named Hannah Lux. And Hannah is somebody who I always remember because she was a funky female student that we had, and one day her hair was one color and another day was another color.
7 different colors.
Yes, and her passion was directing and music. And she is an amazing now director of music videos, and she has worked with Miley Cyrus. She has worked with Ariana Grande.
Oh, wow.
And so we are very excited to have her as one of our graduates. So, and there's many, many more like those. And we're thrilled because a lot of these people also are still very young.
Yeah. That's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So how is the application process like? It must be really, really hard to get in here.
Well, our philosophy was we wanted to be different than USC and UCLA, and we were the big giants in the industry. And those are fantastic schools.
But they run a quarter system or semester system.
They're a semester system.
And it takes years to
yes,
complete.
Yes. And they had been around for 50, 100 plus years. Other schools have been around for a very long time. And so here we are, a brand new school. We can't make applications very difficult, right, since nobody knows us. So our goal early on was if you have the heart and the desire and the energy, that is what it takes. Now, the truth of it is that once you get in here, if you can't keep up with the work, then it's not for you. And that's something that happens sometimes. Exactly. But the idea is that the application process is such that we make sure that there's that energy and excitement and making sure that you can actually get through the program. One thinks it's an easy program, but it's actually not. Yeah, it does have a lot of work with the equipment and learning, and you can't advance to an advanced camera until you've done the work on the basic camera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of our key ingredient is like, do you have the passion and the drive to get through the program? The application process is like any school application process where you have to fill out forms and you have to meet with people, you have to come and see if you like the school and all of that. And then of course there's a tuition, which some people get financial aid, some folks, their parents help them. Some folks already have been working, so they pay for it themselves. But that's always part of the process of applying.
So I know that your classes are super intense, right? Some classes, I mean at UCLA or USC, they're usually just run from an hour and a half to 2 hours at max, right? But your classes are 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, so it depends on the program that you take. There are different classes for each program, but the idea here is that we like to make the program more intense for the main reason that you graduate earlier. So a bachelor's degree, instead of doing 4 years in a bachelor's degree, you can complete your bachelor's degree here in 3 years. What that means is that your classes are more concentrated. You do get less breaks. So I'm sorry, but there's no summer break here. There's no winter break. We do have small breaks throughout the year, but it's not as many breaks as other schools have.
Right.
And the classes are correct. You're going to class sometimes 3 to 4 hours a day. And we tell people you may not be able to hold a part-time job. Every program is different.
It's literally a job or internship, right? You're training it as.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want to do well, it's important to really be engaged. And if you're in the film program, for example, then you have the opportunity to make more films the more you're here.
Exactly. So do they work with film companies at LA Film School? Do they collaborate with, you know, the Paramount Studios or Disney, or do they do any of that?
We have, every teacher is different, and so our teachers are responsible for teaching the curriculum, but I find that many times our teacher will say, okay, we're going to do a tour at a studio, or we're going to do this tour on a set. So that happens a lot. And then after they graduate, we have a department that focuses on how can we get them more involved with the industry out there. A lot of times the graduates will have a job already and go off there, but a lot of times they still want to be doing connections and making inroads with industry. So we have a department that brings in employers to talk to the students and to the graduates.
Job fair day.
Job fair day, and these employers will tell these graduates of their own experiences, how they got to where they are. So we have all those relationships, yes.
That is awesome. So do you see more and more Asian Americans come into LA Film School and getting exposed in the mainstream market, film and TV market?
We do, we do. And it's interesting because every country is very different, and I think that, like in the United States, outside in other countries, you have students that have families that are very supportive of their dreams to become a filmmaker, but you also have students that their parents are like, no, 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 you have to be a lawyer. So you have to be a doctor or an engineer. And so they sometimes have to go through those hurdles of convincing their parents that their dream can become a reality and they can make money at doing what they're excited about every day. So we do have more and more international students coming, and Asian students is coming as well. And as a side note, we really like it because they bring their cultural backgrounds with them. And students from California will have one cultural background, and they might be influenced, for example, by the blow-up movies or by the Arnold Schwarzenegger action movies. But you may get people from other countries that are more interested in character development movies, maybe stories about families, maybe stories about war. And I think that adds a lot to our student body. Because like Meryl Streep said, right, Hollywood is consisted of people from all walks of life in different countries, and this is Hollywood. That's correct. That's correct. And we all, as you know, in the Oscars we have the original story, and that's always important to bring something that's very different. And a lot of times those different stories are very culturally diverse.
So what's one advice that you will give to the young people out there who are chasing after their film and TV dreams?
Well, I'd say that a dose of hard work. Don't think it's easy. Make sure that you know that if you have a dream, to definitely go forward with hard work. That means you wake up in the morning at the right time, you put your feet on the ground, and you go. And don't look at the obstacles. I think sometimes it's very easy to say,
to scare yourself.
I can't do that, I can't do it. But I do think that it's, if you can get rid of that. For example, if you're a woman, it's very easy to say, oh, but most of the industry is men.
Most of the directors are men, most of the writers are men.
My philosophy is don't even think about that. Just go for it.
You can be the first.
You will see yourself as just a person progressing, and other people will see you as a person progressing. So I think that, stick to your dreams, but be passionate about it every single day.
And you did it.
I did it, yeah.
So any new projects coming up from LA Film School? Any cool new exciting collaborations?
We continue to look at our online programs because they have been very successful. They've been met with a lot of success out there, people wanting to know more about the film industry through online programs. So that's one of our areas of looking into, is we'd like to study what people want out there in terms of the media industry, and see if we can come up with programs that satisfy those needs. So that's a very, very big thing.
That's awesome, and we hope to bring more Chinese students to come to your
Absolutely.
amazing, awesome school.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Diana, for sharing all your stories with us. 好的，那么以上就是我们今天对话好莱坞的全部内容了。感谢大家的收看，我们下周同一时间再见了，拜拜。